Act 1. I know I'm wrong. Even if I knew where heaven was and how to get there, I would still feel the need to visit hell and see what it was like and put my freedom to the test. It's irrational, but it's true. I am a horrible person. I know I am. A very horrible one. I am actually a very, very horrible person, and I deserve all the bad that's happened to me and will happen. When I look in the mirror, when I listen to my thoughts, I see such horrible things. You wouldn't believe it. I believe myself to be so ridiculously important. It's really a shame. A shame. So this is my way of saying sorry. This is my way of paying sentence, of protecting the world from my evil. I say this seriously. I sometimes think I must stay forever in this prison, only disturbing myself. I could try and speak about ideas and things that don't have nothing to do with me, but the truth is this: I am a horrible, horrible human being. I think bad things about people constantly. I think they are little and I think they are evil just like me. But the truth is that it's only my fear getting the best of me and tainting everything with making me believe everyone is just as awful and horrible as me. And I'll never know. To be honest, I'll never know. Because I can't know what goes on inside another person's mind, and if I have to take their word for it, well, my arrogance, my fear and my suspicion stand in the way and don't let me do so. If only there was a way to be completely honest. And I mean honest. Honest. Absolute and total compromise to the truth. No unnecessary atom. Nothing more, nothing less. The truth, the truth. The truth. If there was a way to live forever in truth, with truth, and surrounded by truth. That. Forever. All the time. You understand? I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm taking it out all on you, but I sometimes have to, you know? I have to. It gets incredibly lonely in the jail. I sometimes get desperate. It's okay, it's okay. It's my job. It's my job. I get it. I get it now. Excessive subjectivation brings forth a need for transcendence and vice versa. I guess that's what the guy meant in his book. I hope I got it. There is a strange energy within me, a strange energy. I could destroy the whole world with it. I could burn it, run it to the ground, step on it and... Well, it is now that I understand hospitals and all their efforts to prevent death, to hide it.
Con cualquier conflicto interno que aparezca, buscaré reproducir una canción, o leer un libro, o quedar con un amigo, una acción o situación que reconfigure mi realidad externa para solucionarlo. Así, emulo comportamientos previamente legitimados para no lidiar con el abismo que supone la libertad de escoger. Me libro a la interpretación automática del rol, la máscara social. Suprimo el secreto, escondo lo desconocido, como un hospital. Generalmente se cree que la decoración y arquitectura aséptica del hospital está diseñada para evitar la aparición de lo impredecible, lo secretivo, la muerte. Así, cumplir con los requerimientos exigidos para el funcionamiento global de la sociedad. Ojalá que llueva café en el campo. Toda mi felicidad dependía de la configuración determinada de la realidad externa. Exigencia de productividad constante, visibilización pornográfica de todas las problemáticas y deseo frenético de solucionarlas. El hecho de que uno pueda buscar el sentido de la vida por Google o recurrir a una inteligencia artificial para responder a cualquier preocupación o conflicto interno. Fármaco/hospital, externalización de proceso interno. Prótesis.
But there is so much pain. So much. I don't know where it comes from and I don't know what I's made of. It is so deep and insurmountable it almost makes me happy. It's a very strange thing. And I look around and there are so many things I don't understand, so many. All this crazy machines around me which I don't understand the functioning of. All this darkens the possibility of clarity in my mind. And all these pictures. What's with all these pictures? And how can we have come to normalize the fact that we are surrounded by pictures all the time? Very strange. To me, hating myself is actually an act of humility. Of lessening myself in front of the other. And the truth, the simple truth is that I am resentful, bitter, selfish, pretentious, arrogant, blind. A one-legged crooked vulture stuttering its way into confusion. A deformed dwarf crawling its way into nothingness. That's it. A real horrible, awful specimen of a human. Mutilated, amorphous, disgusting and shameful. I totally agree. A specter of everything that's ever been. A null reaction to a nullity. A collection of... Ugh. Why do I keep speaking so much? I'm tired of myself. This is dumb. But can you really blame me? Can you? I mean, the whole thing is just strangely, very strangely built. It's a horrible thing, horrible. All of us in these bodies, doing these things, with all these opinions. It's just horrible, a very horrible thing. And just plain weird. I mean, I don't think anybody can feel with complete certainty that this is it. It would just be nuts to think that, completely nuts. And, believe me, if you could read my thoughts, you too would be embarrassed. I think so highly of myself. It's absolutely ridiculous. When I do a good thing, I look around to see if anybody has seen me do it. I talk about it. I gloat over it like a pig in mud. I gloat over how good I am and I remind myself in thought, after having acted. Or, when a girl looks at me, I think of how handsome I must be for this girl to have looked at me. It's awful, it really is. When somebody points out to me an obvious truth, an undeniable one, an objectively good and true and unarguable truth, I waste no time in trying to find its flaws in the flaws of the person telling me it. When I'm confused, I gloat over that confusion with writing these self-effacing pathetic texts that later will become the fundaments of the rants my mask likes to perform when pushed over the edge, it's all so pathetic it makes me laugh. And I always promise myself that this mask won't come back again, that this is the last appearance of Bart Simpson, cause it only fills me with a sense of limping vanity, and when it appears it only reminds me of its. The truth is this. I see my life as an act of service, I see my whole life as a movie. The most important thing of all is the story, and I have to write an interesting character. With a good arc and a good development. That's the truth. A character has to have an interesting conflict to surpass and resolve. Who likes a boring character? I mean, I couldn't just be one thing. I'm too proud for that. And I don't think it would be fair. I don't know. I feel like the observation of a confused person can be much more healing. It's true, I am quite in conflict with this unspeakable urge to change things up, to create conflict, to provoke. I actually hate it. But the alternative I find much more selfish. Say I got to heaven, and I was happy, and whole, and in peace. If only I enjoyed this heaven, could I call it heaven? Yes, I know. I do. I would. I really would love to numb myself and become the stale representation of a determined social role. Yes. I would love to numb myself and go out to dinner with friends and just be able to behave adequately. Yes. I would. I would really love to. But I just can't. It's not fair to truth, it's not fair to anybody. And so, I give myself to these ideas. And then, I remember somebody that once told me a cryptic and strange thing, 0 equals 1. Problems equal solutions. Liszt didn't differentiate between right or left hand, he just wrote music. And if it's hard to breathe, open a window. Act 2.
No. No hay que llorar, que la vida es un carnaval y las penas se van cantando. Cantar es trascender la experiencia particular de un individuo, y pasar a pertenecer al mundo perfectamente organizado de la armonía. Este ha sido históricamente el papel de la religión, el de dotar de formas y símbolos a los procesos internos de la mente para brindar, y facilitar una mejor comprensión de uno mismo y el mundo. También el de la ciencia. Y el arte. Y, esencialmente, cualquier tipo de esfuerzo comunicativo que se sirva de la representación. Todos ellos, al ser resultado del espíritu, reflejan inevitablemente la relación entre estas dos fuerzas, las fuerzas de subjetivación y las fuerzas de trascendencia. Si uno trata de asimilar lo representado exclusivamente mediante su forma, que es la subjetivación de lo representado, en su sentido etimológico sujeto significa aquello que está por debajo, se sentirá empequeñecido y encerrado, y si uno lo hace tratando de entender lo trascendente, lo significado, lo objetivo, que quiere decir aquello que puede arrojarse por encima o, en otras palabras aquello que puede estar en otro lugar que en el que está, se sentirá expandido hasta la obliteración. Lo mismo sucede en términos prácticos, si uno se preocupa por la adecuada interpretación de su rol dentro de un contexto social determinado no tardará en sentir la claustrofobia de ser uno mismo, si uno, en cambio, trata de ocuparse en el desciframiento del significado de la naturaleza del mundo externo e interno, no tardará en sentir la difusión de los límites que antes le bloqueaban y una libertad previamente desconocida oculta. Así, está la forma, la apariencia externa del significado, siempre determinada, confinante y subjetivadora. Y está el significado de la forma, que siempre parece trascenderse a sí mismo, y entrar en relación intangible con todos los otros significados de todas las otras formas. Por eso, al tratar de explicar una memoria o una sensación uno siempre siente que el lenguaje se le queda corto y, no solo eso, sino que parece modificar de alguna forma el evento original que le inspira. Esto lleva al sujeto a preferir la inconsideración como tal y la transformación en objeto. Esto lo consigue, paradójicamente, representándose a sí mismo, adentrándose en el laberinto de sí mismo, negándose su toda voluntad y dándose al seguimiento exigido por la representación. Uno entonces recuerda algunos ejemplos que lo llevan a convencerse de que la escritura automática, por ejemplo, o la improvisación sin censura han llevado al sujeto a trascenderse exitosamente a sí mismo. La melodía de Under Pressure del inicio de Alicia en el País de las Maravillas. Parece conveniente recordar la similitud sociológica actual entre la celebridad y el santo, así como antes se tenían iconos religiosos poblando las habitaciones y las casas, ahora se tienen pósters de celebridades o representantes culturales. Estos son la prueba fehaciente de una especie de subjetividad interna colectiva que traspasa los límites de la experiencia particular de un sujeto dado, y conecta con la experiencia general de todo ser humano. Algo así como un dios cultura. Una cierta arrogancia parece entonces ocupar la inseguridad antigua del sujeto dubitativo de su propia valía. El mercado, el dios cultura lo ha legitimado como alquimista omnipotente y pues, pasa a vivir en el mundo de las máscaras. La canción Less Than Zero de The Weeknd parece narrar la transición entre la descreencia del símbolo, que es el significado, y lo que trasciende la forma, por la identificación con la forma, el cuerpo, la superficie, la materia dentro del tiempo, que, por cierto, en hindú es la misma palabra que negro. Una transición no exenta de dolor, pero tampoco de placer. La coherencia formal ha sido una fuente de placer muy antigua. También ha sido una fuente de dolor. A decir verdad, a estas alturas no tengo ni idea de lo que estoy diciendo, así que voy a dejar de hablar. Creo que podría esforzarme en comprobar tanto un punto de vista como su opuesto, y ambos resultarían igual de creíbles, o sea que no creo que tenga mucho sentido seguir hablando.
Act 3. If there's a self, there's a will. And if there's a will, there's a way. And if there's a way, well, it's not truth, because truth should conceive of even the parts that are not the way. I think. The YouTuber is honest, the YouTuber recognizes the image as the image, the YouTuber wants the image to be entertaining, the YouTuber creates content, the YouTuber lies happily and knowingly, the YouTuber doesn't even conceive of a fourth wall. The YouTuber is a good person. Be the YouTuber. Learn from the YouTuber. If you see a field and tell yourself it's a city, that does not make it a city. Even if you say it so much and for so long and with such conviction that you end up believing it's a city, it is still a field. Yes. Assisted transcendence is not transcendence. That is true. Is that which is represented true? In some ways it must be. In others it must not. Only by asking why? More than 3 times to any given proposal you can refute any given proposal. This is true of all proposals. Speaking is the main source of confusion in existence.
El problema existe solo en el mundo de lo representado, Aquiles y la tortuga, o la flecha de Zenón.
The problem is not the problem. The problem is the problem. If one stops to look at the problem, then one quickly realizes that there is no problem, that the problem is just the result of an infinite chain of causes and effects that are incalculable, and it's absolutely useless to classify and organize, just like the solution. And so, there is nothing. No right course of action, no nothing. Everyone is left to their own little devices and has only its heart to trust, or its gut, or its head, I don't know. This is what the somebody who told me 0 equaled 1 was trying to tell me.
Los motivos de una acción son siempre inabarcables. La cantidad y cualidad de las consecuencias que una acción derivará son inconcebibles. No tiene sentido hablar algo así como responsabilidad. Lo que quiero decir es que la responsabilidad siempre es selectiva, nunca total.
I used to wallow, I used to cry. I was confused. I thought, I'd rather live confused my whole life than be living, believe in, a lie. Yes, sir. That is what I thought. I accepted the possibility of staying here in this room forever. Always alone. Always debating between the two worlds, like Schnittke's music, like. Which is which? Who is who? What is what? To transcend myself, should I look at myself or should I not? Should I become an automatic performer of my capacities and limits, or should I study and analyze myself thoroughly to bring forth a deeper understanding of myself? And does any of this help me transcend or subjectivize myself even more? And why, then, should I not try to subjectivize myself even further? To become the perfect performer of these game of opposites inside me and around me? Seeing myself, being myself only according to the representation of myself. Oh. But who was I making myself pretty for? Maybe the market? Maybe God? Maybe a teacher? Maybe an idea of some old partner I had in the past? Maybe an imaginary one that I thought would appear in my future? Maybe a parent who never loved me like I thought I deserved. It didn't matter. The point is, it was all a mask. It had nothing to do with the truth. I could write this text in a perfect way, toss it and change it and scramble it in 1,000 different ways, it would make no difference. Why should a beautiful mask be better than an ugly one? Oh my, how I wallowed. I remember, if it is useless to ponder about these things. What must one do? Surrender to doing what feels good in the moment? Must one think? Must one act? And if so, what should be the criteria for them? Should one think about acting? Should one act and then think? And how should one think? Is there no right action? Is the right action an abstraction projected by a mind's weak needing of an authority to submit to? Is there no right action as such, and it all depends on the context? Are all affirmations situational? Is there, then, a must? Can there be a must? Why does one conceive of one, then? How come I feel so guilty? Is that a flaw in my mind's functioning? But if there's such a thing as a flaw. Oh. The pain of unconsciousness or the pain of remorse, those are the two only options, I tell you. There is also silence, but we don't talk about that. I look at myself and see the world, I look at the world and see myself. What an awful joke. Life is a funny business. All these little brains going like crazy for these little things that mostly don't exist. Oh, I want to grasp the ghost. Strange funny business, this is. Frantic desire, fearful pleasure. I cultivate superfluous relationships to escape the search and love of truth. Relationships that reassert my convictions or challenge them in an attractive way. The narcissist looks for the caretaker to be cradled through the exploitation of its natural tendency for maternalism, and then the exploited looks for someone to exploit. The organized looks for somebody as organized to justify their fear of chaos, and the ones in conflict look for the personification of one of their opposites so they can react negatively into a sense of validation for the other part of the conflict, and then one will emphasize in oneself the qualities the other one lacks, like organic markets in cities, because, it's all a silly game, a silly game. And so many fucking words. And so many fucking words. But if I could just think this through. If I could just think this through just right. And go down every avenue and every avenue off of that avenue. Oh. Then. And only then. I've told you, you can convince your mind of anything. You can convince it that the world is burning and you must burn with it. You can convince it that you are a star living in a world of dogs, or a lonely pole in the middle of a cold desert, or that stuff isn't really stuff but ideas posing as such, or the opposite, maybe, if you don't like that one. The point is, if you repeat it enough, the mind will believe it. But then, what is objectivity? Well, I don't know. I really don't, I'm sorry. Somebody should take the mic away from me. Speaking is a dangerous thing, let me tell you. It's the subjectivizing action par excellence. I guess that is why rappers' lyrics are constantly using cultural references. Like the old poets. To get away from the unbearable subjectivization of speaking, and in substitution for the lack of melody. I don't know. The thing is, the mind is quiet, so the mind invents. Tries to find patterns of meaning. The mind is bored, it speaks, it fills the world with chatter. If this is like this, one must ask, did the problem ever exist? And the truth is this, the problem was never such, because there was nothing determinable. There were only words. And words all depend on each other, so.
Si uno no se puede representar ante sí la naturaleza clara y única de las cosas, no puede afirmar que éstas existan.
My head hurts, I want to stop speaking, this is all so stupid. I have no idea of things. I am really sorry. Yes. Please forgive me. I know this.
Mi grado de bienestar depende directamente de la cantidad de minutos que pase al día con los ojos cerrados.
This is what I know. We all tend to truth. Voluntarily or not, it doesn't matter. Both are secretly undistinguishable. Yes, and I think that's it. I just really hope my life turns out to be something I can live with. And there are not many things I cannot live with. And the ones I cannot live with are usually self-imposed, so. I had other things to say, but I'm tired. I remember when this text was just an idea in my mind. It was vague, but it was perfect. It drew the perfect line from me to the whole world. From me to everything. But now it's just a text. I have a body, and 99% of the time I am not aware of it. I realize I am inside a body, and this body is no different than any other thing or body around it. Suddenly, all the movements that seemed natural and effortless when you let the body function automatically, become miraculous and strange. You see your hands, you move them, you now feel like you have hands for the first time. You see your legs, the legs are farther away from the face than the hands. The face seems to be the center of experience, or, better said, the eyes. The eyes capture reality, emanate it. The eyes are close to the brain. The brain is the place where all information is born, processed and expelled from. I understand. I want to understand. There is so much beauty and love in the world, and I want to live in that joy forever. It's useless to say anything else. taint everything with words and confusion. It really is. I am so sorry. I love you.